Well, tomorrow marks 35 years since the opening of Expo 88 and in Brisbane. One of the special guests is Ric Birch, who was the Director of Entertainment at Expo. Ric's with me in the studio, along with Expo historian Peter Rasey. Good morning to the both of you.
Morning.
Good morning, Spencer.
Welcome, and happy 35th for tomorrow.
And should have been seen, yeah.
We will get to Expo, but 2032... Are you in the Premier's ear yet about 2032?
No, haven't spoken to the Premier. Had a brief meeting with Cindy Hook, but only to say good day. We were passing through Brisbane, so it's a chance to say hello. But it's much too early for ceremonies.
But you'd be interested?
Oh, I would, but I'll be an elderly pedestrian by then, so we'll find out if I'm still mobile.
Look, you're in your mid-70s now, right?
I'm 78, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'll call it mid-70s. Yeah, and you're looking 53.
Oh, thanks.
So, I've got no doubt that but it's more than just you. There's the whole production company
sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
So, what do you do between now and then to have a crack at getting the ceremonies?
I think I'd better go to the gym and get lots of sleep. Yeah.
You'll be putting in for it. The company will be putting in for it, sure.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, look, it's in a way a perfect circle for me. If from 82 to 32, 50 years, it'd be a lovely beginning and end.
Any ideas yet what the moment would be that you'd put into that opening ceremony?
Not at all.
And you certainly wouldn't tell me now.
Well, often, the moment for the lighting of the cauldron, I got in Monaco because in 93, they decided Sydney was going to be the Olympic city, and I was there for the announcement. And the
September
moment,
7. It was September 7, 93. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I remember
a
it.
date, engraved in your memory, I can see. But the moment everyone from Sydney leapt up in the air, including John Fay, who was the Premier at the time, I visualised the lighting of the cauldron of flame coming up through gas and things like that. So some things come to you in a flash and some things take longer.
John Fay had his hat in his hand, didn't he? Jumping around.
Heart in his hand, I think. Yeah.
Now, Ric Birch is here. He's best known for those Olympic Games opening ceremonies, but we're going to talk about Expo. 35 years ago tomorrow, Expo started. Peter Rasey's with me as well. He's an Expo historian. Ric, how big a project was that for you as Director of Entertainment? That's not a 3 or 4 hour show. That's a 6-month show.
Yeah, in many ways, the thinking was the same. I mean, I assembled a group of producers, creative people to come up with each element within the Expo entertainment plan. And had we done it just once, had it been an Olympic ceremony and all those pieces came together for one day, it would have worked just as well. But we had the great opportunity to be able to spread it over 6 months, think about it, change it, add to it. And the whole premise from the beginning, which Bob Minikin, the general manager, articulated to me, was to encourage people to come back to Expo more than once because the domestic audience was going to be the major audience, so we had to give them a reason to come back, and entertainment was that reason.
And people did. I mean, I was at school in the city, and every afternoon, with my season pass, I was at Expo. I went into the business visitors program every afternoon after school, where they had Reuters on a computer, future radio guy here, and I would check the news wire, and then I'd get on the train and go home every afternoon.
And you didn't stay for the entertainment?
Oh, I did the entertainment stuff. Yeah. My mum actually worked in that pavilion, so we got in the back door into everywhere. Peter Rasey, I want to come to you. Why is it that we still talk about Expo 88 as much as we do? Because there'll be people listening to this right now going, people who weren't here. Going, here they go again, going on about Expo 88. But it was something, and we will never forget it, right?
And Ric, this is a special little story and a special tribute because the answer to it is an ABC presenter back in 2013 by the name of Spencer Howson, who gave me the opportunity to articulate the then Lord Mayor's vision, Graham Quirk, about the importance of Expo 88. And that just started the ball rolling. And it got bigger and better in 2018. We've now got the World Expo 88 Art Trail. And what really drove me at the time, and I think I actually mentioned it on air to you at the time, was that the legacy of the Commonwealth Games had all but disappeared in Brisbane. And Graham's made sure that it didn't disappear completely with the recasting of a part of the Welcome to the City fountain, which was down in Fortitude Valley. And that's what drove me, because if we hadn't actioned remembering and capturing the legacy, it would have disappeared, the same as the Commonwealth Games. And it's, Ric, your help this week in coming over has been really instrumental in lifting the profile. It's important because I don't think we would have got the Olympics except for the fact that we were able to show this progression between the Commonwealth Games, which is Clem. In retaliation, we got Expo, which was Sir Joe's retaliation against what Clem had organised. We then went on to Peter Beattie's
Goodwill Game?
Yeah, Goodwill Games. And then obviously we flowed on to the G20, and they've just been a progression. And it's meant that we have a very special legacy because nowhere else in the world can claim hosting a Commonwealth Games and an Olympics and a Goodwill Games. And no one else can ever match that. No. Because there is no more Goodwill Games, and you had to be a Commonwealth country, and the Goodwill Games are only in America and Russia.
Until we hosted them. Yeah. So over time, you, Peter, you've been gathering together all these bits and pieces from Expo that have been in all sorts of places, school camp, university campus here and wherever. What are you currently working on? What's your current project? Or what have you just launched this week? A big smile on the face, yes?
Well, the Girl Guides Queensland now, they had a mural from Expo 88. And it was about 18 metres long, and it had about 40-odd thousand names on it. And that went into storage. Part of it went through the floods and was lost. And now there is about 12 metres of it on display up at the Yarraman Heritage Centre. And it is a time capsule. It's got the cabinet, it's got the Queensland government, but it's got all these wonderful stories of people who are on their way to Expo 88, and they paid $2.50 to get a little swimming pool size tile with a laser message on it. And there's marriage proposals, there's tributes to people that had passed away on travelling there, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful narrative. And so there's about 25,000 names, and it's now on display, and that has been a 5-year labour of love, and it has been all over the place. Trying to find a home, but it's now got a home. I
called you an Expo historian. You're like an Expo archaeologist, actually, looking for all these pieces from 1988. Rick, did you have any idea that Expo would be so huge and remembered so fondly for so many years?
Well, I hoped it would be. The idea was to create a place where Brisbane would come to enjoy itself, and as Salou said at the time, it was the happiest place on earth, which it tended to be, particularly around the Munich Beer Hall, if you remember.
I was too young. No, I was too young.
Too young for the chicken dance.
Yes, I was. Look, Karen Williams used to dance the chicken dance, the now mayor of the Redlands. That's what she was doing at the time.
It was probably part of her qualifications for the job, I imagine, because there were very many Brisbane voters there. But the idea was, to create a place. And in fact, I think the current South Bank is carrying on the tradition a bit. It's a great place to walk. I mean, I haven't seen anything like it anywhere else in the world. I think it's one of the great precincts, and Brisbane should be very proud of it.
I agree.
And I hope you all enjoy it because it has carried on a little bit of the feeling of Expo.
Yeah, absolutely. Ric Birch, great to meet you. Thanks for coming in. And Peter Rasey, Expo archaeologist. Thank you both.